What's up guys, Houndish here, and today I wanted to jump in and talk about weapons moving forward into the Forsaken expansion. So some weapons are going to become completely unobtainable or much more difficult to obtain. We're going to talk about which weapons are actually going to be going away and taken out of vendor rotation, but we'll also cover the weapons which you'll still be able to get moving forward, the collection system and how that's working right now, and ultimately some weapons that you should definitely try and pick up before the Forsaken expansion rolls around, because like I said, there are a series of weapons which are going to become unobtainable. So we're going to get straight into it guys. If you do enjoy this one, a like below is very much appreciated. If you're new to the channel, feel free to hit subscribe and turn on those notifications to keep up to date with Destiny 2 and Forsaken moving forward. But without further delay, let's jump into the video. So as I mentioned, there are a bunch of weapons which are going to be retired from vendor rotation moving forward, and that means that some of the best weapons in Destiny 2 right now are actually going to become unobtainable, but there is potential for some of them to return. So Bungie had stated that some Year 1 weapons could be brought back inside of Year 2, and this will mean that they have the ability to apply Year 2 mods and have random rolls, but they won't be upgradable from the weapons you have right now. And outside of the reprises, there will be a bunch of weapons which you can't actually get. Should mention though, if you have them right now, they're not going to be taken away. You can even delete them because they are recognized by the collection system. So Bungie have said anything after the Warmind expansion, you're safe to delete. So if you have it in your inventory at this point in time, you should be good to delete them and you'll be able to pick them back up in the collection inside of Forsaken. But of course, that is up to you. So which weapons are actually going to be affected here? Which weapons should you worry about? Well, I should mention that when it comes to the Ikelos set of weapons or the Forge weapons from Curse of Osiris, planetary weapons such as Hawthorne's Field Forge Shotgun, and raid weapons, all of those are still going to be obtainable because the activities will still be available as well. When it comes to the faction rally, of course, the final faction rally for Season 3 has happened now, so anything you don't own from the faction rally, there is no guarantee that you will ever be able to get at this point. That is apart from the catalysts which were available in this season's faction rally, which Bungie had confirmed. They do plan to have ways to get them dropped in Season 4. And of course, Season 4 begins on September 4th with the launch of the Forsaken expansion. So now we have that out of the way, which weapons should you actually look at? Well, there are some classic weapons actually which come from the Vanguard. So we have the Nameless Midnight, absolutely one of the top legendary weapons in Destiny 2, one of the most highly used PvE weapons pretty early on in the game. Of course, there is potential that you never pick this up, especially if you've started playing recently. It's a precision frame archetype of scout rifle. It also comes with explosive payload. You've got flared magwell for faster reloads, but especially explosive payload makes the weapon absolutely fantastic. Definitely, if you have never had one, now is the time to get one, because this thing is not going to be obtainable after Forsaken drops, at least from any vendors. Next, we have the main ingredient, the fusion rifle, which absolutely destroys, especially in PvP. So ever since the beta for Destiny 2, this thing has been absolutely brutal. Of course, it comes with Rampage. You get bonus damage stacking up to 3 times when you make a kill. Enhanced battery for bonus magazine size. You've got liquid coils, increased impact damage and slower charge time. It's in the precision frame archetype, and it's just absolutely ridiculous inside of PvP. It maps people. Very, very consistent fusion rifle. Possibly the highest ease of use fusion rifle I think we've ever seen in Destiny, period. This thing is going to be going into the second slot as well. So you'll be able to run around with an Acreus, this, and a Better Devils. And dependent on the ammo situation, I think this thing is going to be incredibly potent going into PvP in Forsaken, especially in the early days. And so considering there's a good chance this will not be obtainable in any way, definitely you should try and get one if you don't have it. Gonna have to mention the good old Curtain Call rocket launcher as well from the Vanguard. If you've never had one, just simply try and get one. It has cluster bombs, which absolutely is the premier bonus for PvE. We've got high velocity round, so it's got a good projectile speed. This thing is fantastic for damage in general, so definitely not one to miss out on. Of course, there are other weapons that you can get in the Vanguard. You've got Nightshade, you've got Positive Outlook from Curse of Osiris. What I'd recommend you guys do is you can actually use DestinySets.com. It can basically see what gear you have, and it'll give you a full checklist of what you have and haven't obtained. But let's mention some weapons from the Crucible. We'll talk about the Better Devils. Of course, the premier hand cannon, especially early on in Destiny 2, but it is the main main kind of explosive payload hand cannon that we have in D2. It's adaptive frame, so it's in a really good solid archetype for all types of content. You also have extended mag or flared magwell, both solid bonuses right there. Couple that with explosive rounds, masterwork it. It's simply a fantastic hand cannon. I should mention, it appears that we've been teased that this thing could actually return in year 2. So when Bungie confirmed that some weapons would come back, they did show an image of Better Devils. They also showed it 3-tapping inside of PvP, which DMG confirmed the Titan that was 3-tapped was not hit by the rocket that was flying past, just in case you were curious. So that 3-tap is absolutely real, according to Bungie. Either way, Better Devils may come back, but it will have random rolls, so this roll of the Better Devils is only obtainable right now. I don't get the most excited by Crucible weapons, but Autumn Wind I think deserves a quick shout. Very good rapid fire frame pulse rifle, and these things have a great time to kill in PvP. Of course, they're overshadowed a little bit by exotics right now, but the thing to bear in mind is that we're going to see a bunch of time to kill changes in the game, and it looks like Bungie are going to try and bring the legendaries closer to some of those really powerful exotics when they rebalance time to kill. Rapid fire pulse rifles, both at the end of D1 and throughout D2, have had a fantastic time to kill in PvP. And so if they bring everything up, there's a good chance that this archetype is really going to be popping off again in the Crucible. So definitely bear in mind the Autumn Wind, which you can get from packages at the Crucible. Let's go on to some Gunsmith weapons. So like the other vendors, there is no guarantee that any of these weapons will be obtainable in year 2. It's even more unlikely that you'll get them with the specific rolls they have right now. So a weapon that can come from the Gunsmith would be the Manananan SR4, a fantastic scout rifle, 200 rounds per minute. So it's a lightweight frame scout, just like the Mighty Multi-Tool. This one though has explosive payload, but of course it is also an energy weapon, and it's very, very good in PvE content, man. Taking shields off whenever you've got burns, just in general, it's an awesome scout rifle, just like the Nameless Midnight with explosive payload. A solid archetype of scout with decent stats and then decent bonuses like this. It also has steady rounds and alloy magazines, so it's got a couple of options, but it's just a very well-rounded scout rifle, one of my absolute favorites for PvE content in general. Don't sleep on it, man. A weapon that no one's been sleeping on though would be the Uriel's Gift. So of course, an immensely popular auto rifle throughout D2's life cycle, especially those first few months. Fantastic archetype, precision frame, 450 rounds per minute. Uriel's has insane stats and insane kind of handling to actually use in game. Very high range, very manageable recoil and stability. Then it has high caliber rounds or steady rounds, and you've got tap the trigger, which just turns it into an absolute laser beam. Many of us already know about this thing. Once again, it's worth mentioning all of the time to kill changes and stuff that are going to happen in PvP. You just don't know what is going to be on top. Another classic from the Gunsmith would be the Antiope or the Antiope. Man, people are never going to stop arguing about how you say that. See, these weapons have got history, man. They've got community history. But precision frame, it's a fantastic archetype for SMG, 600 rounds per minute, the slow-firing SMG. They do a bunch of damage in PvP and PvE content. This one with kill clip, of course, gives you bonus damage when you reload after a kill. You've also got ricochet rounds, increases stability, increases range, or tactical mag. Once again, essentially a god roll as far as SMGs go. Whether you love it or hate it, Last Hope is going to have to be another mention here. Of course, a fantastic burst sidearm inside of PvP content especially. Its adaptive frame, Omelon, reliable, 3-round burst. Has Zen Moment as well, causing damage with the weapon increases stability, so it handles really nicely. Ricochet rounds bumping up range and stability. Steady rounds as well. If you're up close in the Crucible, this thing still destroys. If you've never had one, I would definitely try and get one before the end of year 1 in just a few weeks' time. Of course, seasonal weapons are going to be affected by this, and so that means everything for Iron Banner and Trials of the Nine is going to be taken away. So some quick mentions here. The Purpose Scout Rifle, it was a Season 2 weapon, but I believe they still drop in packages. Kind of similar to Manananan, but it is a kinetic weapon. Lightweight frame once again, so it's 200 rounds per minute. Also, you've got explosive payload, you've got slide shot or hipfire grip, and it simply is a very solid scout rifle. It's higher rate of fire, but it's still a very good longer range scout, and explosive payload speaks for itself still. So if you have the opportunity, definitely try and turn in some tokens for this one. I should also mention the Sudden Death shotgun from Trials, one of the premier kind of higher impact legendary shotguns for PvP especially, and then there is Darkest Before as well. Before the exotic buffs where Graviton and Vigilance wings started going off, Darkest Before was absolutely one of the top primary weapons in the game, and much like the Autumn Wind, anything in the rapid fire archetype, it has the potential to rise all the way to the top again in just a few weeks time with sandbox changes. Let's mention some Iron Banner stuff briefly briefly. Personally, I haven't been super excited by Iron Banner gear in general. That's why in year 2 it's going to be much better, because hopefully all of that stuff gets random rolls, and we'll be going back to that kind of D1 style of Iron Banner where we're farming for different rolls on some of the weapons. But Ahriman's Anvil is a really nice kinetic 450 RPM auto, so it's in that precision frame archetype. Got under pressure, so it improves the stability and accuracy as the mag gets lower. You've also got accurized rounds for increased range. It has a very good range stat to begin with. I think Euro's Gift is straight up better than this weapon, but I'd probably put this as one of my top picks otherwise. It's pretty solid in the Crucible as well. We do have one final Iron Banner before the end of year 1 coming up in just a couple of weeks time, and that is going to be the curtain call on attempting to get any of the weapons that drop in that loot table. I should also mention Time Worn Spire, another rapid fire frame pulse rifle, so it's like Dark as Before or the Autumn Wind, this time with Zen Moment, and it's another pretty solid example of one of these pulse rifles. And Hero's Burden as well from the Iron Banner is definitely one of the best adaptive frame SMGs for PvP. It's got threat detector, which is great considering you're going to be up close with people. You've also got high caliber rounds, which doesn't hurt the weapon whatsoever, boosts that range up and makes it a little bit more obnoxious to fight against. It absolutely shreds in the Crucible. Like I said, one of the premier SMGs in this class. So those guys would be the top weapons that I would mention. As Bungie said, some stuff may return, but it will just be a selection of things. Those weapons that do come back will have random rolls and the ability to put mods on them, so arguably they will be better in some respects than what we have right now. At the same time though, remember back in Destiny 1, when you get to year 2 or year 3, there will be certain weapons which you just purely can't get anymore, so hopefully this guide has been useful with a few of the kind of top and most remembered weapons from year 1. If there are any you're chasing down, then I wish you the best of luck getting them, but for any of us who have this stuff already, like I said, you can safely delete any of this gear according to Bungie and it will be recognized in the collection in the next DLC. But let me know your thoughts down below. Of course, I haven't mentioned all of the weapons. There'll be stuff that you guys think I should have had on this list, so drop it in the comment section. If you have enjoyed the video though, a like is very much appreciated below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit subscribe if you'd like to see more of my Destiny 2 and Forsaken content going forward. Check out my sponsor Into the AM, who have some fantastic clothing in their store. Really cool hoodies, hats, all over print shirts. They've got accessories, bandanas, a few lineups of gaming related shirts as well. You can save 10% in their store using code HOUNDISH. The link for that will be down below. For now though, guys, I appreciate you watching as always, and I will catch you very soon.